Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to our English class. This is Nicole. I see all of your enthusiastic feeling, your excitement here. Well, that's good. That's fantastic. You all did such incredible and detailed work yesterday in our part one for exercise on letters. So we are now on exercise two. I'm sorry for this. This is exercise two, where we concentrate on the exact feeling of every single sound in your lips, tongue, and throat. That's on part one. Exact feeling of those single sound per letter. So that deep concentration is paying off already. Now, as I've mentioned earlier, we are ready for the next level. We are moving from single sounds to full words. Now, this is where we take the muscle memory we just built in the previous days or in the previous sessions. How your mouth moves to make the sound. We totally focused on that. And of course, how quickly we connect it to a real English word. We are going to do that in this session. So you can think of it like this. If part one was learning how to drive a car's engine, part two is taking the car onto the road. We will go slowly, we will go word by word, we will go at your own pace. We will make sure that your brains hears the starting sound and your knowledge instantly tells you the correct starting letter. So this process will help you read and at the same time spell better. So this is going to be a great practice for you. I know that. Um it will be very helpful. Okay, so let's start identifying the word. But before that, let's take a breath. You can grab your drink if you haven't yet before we totally indulge ourselves for our exercise tonight. Let's take a few seconds to rest and prepare ourselves. Okay, I think we are already good. Let's start right away. But before that, okay. Just a quick reminder, this is our English alphabet. There are 26 letters in the English alphabet. We will try to review how these letters sound and how these letters, what is the name of these letters and how it sounds like when used in a word. The common sounds of these letters. Let's start right away from A to Z. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. So those are the names of these letters. How about the sound? A for A, B for B, C for K, E for E, F for G for G, H for I for E, J for J, K for L for L, M for M, N for N, O for O, P for P, Q for Q, R for R, S for S, T for T, U for V for V, W for W, W. X for s, s. Y for y. Z for z. So those are the different sounds, different names of the letter as well as its corresponding sounds. We are ready to go for identifying the word. We're going to start right away with this one. What is the word for this picture? Mm. What is this creature or what is this animal? This is, okay, for a moment. Let me copy this one so that we can. So, what is this animal? This is a fish. Again, a fish. This is a fish. Fish. Now, again, let me remind you our exercise for tonight. You try to identify the starting sound. Most of the example pictures here, we have words that focuses on the starting sound. There are some words, just a few words or examples that focuses more on the middle or at the end sound, but mostly here at the beginning of the sound. Now, what is the starting sound for this picture or for this word fish? What letter is this? That is That is a fish. So that letter is what? F. The name of the letter is F. Now, how does F sounds like? Again, how does F sounds like? Do you remember that? So, again, when you try to create the letter F sound, you try to hold the lip position where you do or where you will use your top teeth and then your bottom inside lip, where you do this for a full second before you speak the word. So this makes sure that you are ready when pronouncing this particular um letter. So ensure the airflow here is smooth and of course unvoiced. It does not have any vibrations and it should sound like a continuous let's say whisper, not a noise. Remember, no voice should start until the vowel L. So if vowel L, vowel I. So if you feel any vibration in your throat, you are making the V sound instead. Listen for the strong silent friction at the very beginning of the word. Okay? Again, our first Mm. our first word is fish and it starts with what letter? F. What's the sound of letter F? How about the other letters here that make up the word? What is this next letter, the one highlighted? What is that? That is a vowel. What vowel is that? That is the vowel I. I. Now, what sound does vowel I make? Letter no, not letter. But unsa man? What sound is it? E. Again, E. How about the next letter? This one. That is letter S. What S sounds like? S. Hissing. How about the last one? That is H. What does it sound like? Ha. It's like you are breathing out or exhaling. Okay, again, this is fish. Next, how about this one? What is the, sorry, what is the word for this? What is this picture showing? What do you call this? This is a nest. Again, this is a nest. Nest. Again, here we are going to focus on the starting sound. This one, the one underlined. What is this letter? That is letter N. Now, what does N sound like? It's a nasal sound. So, meaning that you feel the air at your nose. Mm, mm. So, that is letter N. Nest is the word. How about the other letter? Before that, let's focus more on the N. Again, let me remind you that here in letter N, if you try to make the sound of letter N, the tongue, your tongue, tongue tip especially, it touches the ridge behind your teeth firmly, which of course block all the air in your mouth. That is why you must feel the sound vibrate only in your nose, as well as the air. So this is a voice nasal sound, meaning the voice is on, your throat vibrates, but the mouth here is blocked. So what you can avoid, especially if you do some mistakes, is that so that you can not do mistakes, is that if the air comes out your mouth, the sound will be wrong. And it might sound like a D. So keep the lips and mouth really still as much as possible. Okay? Again, this is letter N. What N sounds like? Mm. How about this second letter? That is letter E, which sounds like eh. Next, we already know that. Well, we already know this. This is letter S, which sounds like S. And the last one is letter T, which sounds like T. All in all, this is nest. Nest. Our focus is on the starting sound, which is letter N. That sounds like mm, mm. Okay, let's move on to another picture. Mm. What is this picture showing? What is the name of these items? There are different items shown in this picture, though they can be categorized as what? Balls. Again, balls. The word we are trying to find here is balls. Now, what is this letter? We are going to focus on the starting sound. What is that letter? That is letter B. B. The name of the letter is B. Now, how does letter B sound like? B. B. So that is the second letter in the alphabet, English alphabet, which is letter B. All in all, our word here is balls. Balls. So when you try to make letter B sound, of course, as you can see, B, B. My lips are completely closed or sealed, and I press them together gently. So you can start the vibration immediately in your throat before you open your lips. So the sound here must burst out quickly and strongly when your lips are already open. So it's a voiced sound, meaning your throat vibrates, since you can feel the strong humming in your throat right away. This is the voice partner of letter P. Okay? Letter P is just voiceless. Again, our word here is balls, which starts with letter B. That sounds like B, B. Let's move on to the next letter or picture. What is this picture showing? That is roses. Again, these are roses. Now, roses starts with what I call this letter. That is letter R. Again, letter R. What does letter R sound like? It sounds like R. So this is the time where you curl your tongue back. strongly right at the start. You try to pull it back into the center of your mouth. So you try to keep the sound really long here and as well as vibrating. Okay? The sound must not touch the roof of your mouth or the teeth at all. And the tongue, really needs to be firm and curved backward, not, resting flat. So this takes practice. So feel that deep curl here. Okay? Again, our word is roses. Our letter is what letter we are focusing here is R, which sounds like R. How about this one? What letter is this? This is O, which sounds like O. This we already know that as S, E, E, and another S. We move on to the next. This is, what animal is this? This is a cat. Again, cat. Now, what letter is this word starting off? That is letter C, which sounds like cat. So you try to use a strong, sharp puff of air from the back of your mouth. Remember that the back of your tongue, it blocks the air completely for a moment. So this sound is really unvoiced. So your throat should be quiet here or it should not vibrate. Now the vowel A here, it opens the mouth wide immediately after the puff of air is released. Okay? So again, the second letter is A. How about the last one? That is a T or T. T. That's what it sounds like. But the entire word is cat. We focused more on the starting sound, which is C or yes, or C. So that is cat. Let's move on to the next. This is still an animal. What animal is this? That is a zebra. Again, zebra. Our focus here is still on the starting sound. What is the starting sound? What's the name of the letter? That's letter Z. How does letter Z sound like? It sounds like this. Z. Okay? Not just hissing, but buzzing. That is letter Z. How about the other letters? This is E, which sounds like E. This is B, which sounds like B. This is R, which sounds like R. And this is A, which sounds like A. Now, our focus again is on the starting sound, letter Z. So, in here, of course, when we try to incorporate it, when we try to use it, um, you can start with a strong continuous buzzing sound. So, you make the sound last a moment. Remember, the key difference between Z and S here is your voice. Is it voiced or voiceless? You must turn on your, voice to create the buzzing vibration. So mistake to avoid here is that if you don't use your voice, it will sound like zebra. Again, zebra instead of zebra. Okay? That is a zebra. Next, what is this item or what is this picture showing? That is a helicopter. Again, a helicopter. Now, what is the starting sound of helicopter? Letter H. So the sound here is really pure. It's, unvoiced. Air flowing out easily. So it's like a gentle, easy flow of breath from your throat to your tongue, and your lips should be completely relaxed and especially still when you start this word. So do not tense your throat or force the air. It should flow out easily here. For helicopter. Again, helicopter. Our letter is H. What does H sounds like? The breathing out or exhaling. How about the other letters in this word? This is a long word. This is I'm sorry, E, which sounds like This is L, which sounds like L. This is I, which sounds like E. This is C, which sounds like. This is O, which sounds like O. This is P, which sounds like. This is T, E, E, R.
Mm. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next word. What is this picture showing? There are so many of them. There are, if I'm not mistaken, that's five. What? What five? Apples. Again, there are five apples here. If I'm not mistaken, with this one half. Anyway, the name or the word that we're trying to find is apple or apples. Okay, what letter or what's the starting sound of apples? That is none. Okay, so again, there is an example. That is an example. Apples. So we are focusing on the starting sound, meaning the letter A or A. Now you try to, open your jaw wide and low for the first sound so that you feel this particular large stretch. And of course, hold that wide jaw position strongly for the short A vowel. This is a very open front for vowel sound. Try to make the sound low in your throat. Okay? This is, again, apples. The start of the letter is A, which sounds like A. How about this one and this one? It's the same case. That's letter P, which sounds like next, E, E, S, S. Next. Next is we're going to have this is sorry, let me go back. Again, P. This is letter P, this two. And then followed by L or L, E for E, S for hissing. Okay, apples. Let's move on to this one. An animal. Now, we're going to focus here on the end sound. Okay, so this is an ox. Again, an ox. Two-letter word only. Ox. It starts with what letter? O or A. I'm sorry, not A, but O. How about the other letter? That's our focus. Okay? Our focus is the letter X. So that is why. Let's start with um identifying this particular. Oh, we already know this one. Our focus here is on letter X, which sounds like X. So that is it. Okay? Thank you. Let's move on to this one. What is this picture showing? That is a doll. Now, what letter is this starting off to? That is letter D or D. D. Okay? How about the other letters? This is O or O. L for what? L. That's the sound of letter L. Okay? Next, we move on to this one. This is a food that is clearly a pizza, right? So that's a pizza. It starts with what letter? Letter U. Again, letter U. Okay, good. So when we try to say this particular word, it's pizza. And the first, you know, we're focusing on the starting sound. So that is the letter P, right? The one underlined. How does P sound like? So you try to close your lips, then release a very clean and voiced puff of air here. So this sound a very explosive, but check that your voice does not start until the vowel is made. Okay? How they try to, as much as possible, hold the air behind your lips tightly before the release. Okay? That's pizza. Let's move on to this one. We already know this. That's letter I, which sounds like E, Z, which sounds like buzzing sound, and A, which sounds alike. Okay? Are we all good? Or maybe we should take a break for a minute only. Okay? Your break starts right now. Okay, a minute has passed. Let's move on to another word. This is, what do you think is the name of this one? That is a log. Again, this picture is a log. Log. Okay? But then again, our focus is on letter L, which sounds like L, log. Next, this one. This is picture showing. That is, for a moment. So this is what? Eggs. What is the starting sound of letter or of the word X? That is letter E. It sounds like eh. It's loosen up a bit more. This letter, what is this? This letter G, which sounds like G. And then, of course, the hissing sound, which is S. Let's move on to another picture. This one. What is this picture showing? What's the animal? That is a kangaroo. Now, you know, what is a kangaroo? As you can see in the picture, that is a kangaroo. It's an animal, everyone. Anyway, we move on to this one. We focus here on the starting sound, which is the letter K. Now, what is the sound of letter K? That is that is the sound of letter K. This one underlined. So that is a kangaroo. Now, when I say that or pronounce the letter K, as much as possible, you try to block the air with the black tongue firmly. So you try to push out a strong puff of air. Remember this particular sound is made exactly like the letter C in real life, right? So it's same it's same tongue action. It's the same puff of air. Okay, that is kangaroo. Next, okay, this one. What do you think is this for entertainment? That is yo-yo. Again, this is a yo-yo. So, what letter is this sound like, or what letter does it start like? It is letter Y. Again, letter Y. For a moment, this one, letter Y, which sounds like yi, yo-yo. So, the letter name is Y. Okay. Well, anyway, when we try to speak or pronounce that letter, the sound of the letters in the English alphabet, um, you can lift the middle of your tongue high and glide it down fast into the vowel sound. The sound must be quick and updated. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to this one. What is this picture showing? That is a queen. So that is a queen. Let me just move this on for a moment. Okay, this one, it's better. We are going to start with the first letter and sound, which is Q. Now, what is Q? What is the Q? Or what's the sound of letter Q? Whoa, whoa, that's letter Q. It is a combination of K and W, right? If you remember it in our previous session, that's queen. Okay, let's move on to the next. For a moment, let me just check. Okay, not here anymore. But anyway, we're going to focus on another example. That is, a moment. This is a violin. How does violin, this one, what's the sound of, or what's the letter name are we focusing here? That is letter V or W. Um, what is the sound of, what's the sound of sirens, for police? But anyway, that is violin. Okay, this is violin. Violin. What letters does it sound like? Or what letter is this one? The one highlighted, the name of the letter. That is V. What's the sound of letter V? V, V. Okay, let's move on to the next. This is very simple. That is a girl. Again, a girl. What this sounds particular for a moment. Okay, this sounds like girl. Now here, our focused letter is G, which sounds like G, G. So while doing that, of course, as much as possible, you try to block the air with the back tongue and speak immediately. Your voice here must start before the air is fully released. Okay? It's sad or not sad, but it's actually good example to see how complex English language is. Complex, very difficult. There are many things that you need to know when it comes to English alphabet, or not just alphabet, but English in general. Okay? Okay. Let's move on to the next. What is this showing? That is, or those are taxis or cab. Okay? This is taxi. That is letter T. The starting sound is letter T. The word is taxi. Now, when you try to say or pronounce the sound of letter T, a tip is that your tongue tip locks and releases with January with a sharp, face, face, or not face, but fast. Let's say fast for long-term contract. Fast transportation vehicle. This is taxi or cab. Let's move on to this one. What is this picture showing? This is a jelly bean or jelly beans. Let's just say jelly beans because there's so many of them. This is jelly beans. Now we are going to focus on the starting sound. This is letter J. J or J. J. Jelly beans. That is it. Let's move on to the next. This is clearly a moon. What's the sound or what are, yeah, let's just focus on that. What's the focus in here? Starting sound. What is the starting sound? That is letter M. Okay? Which makes up entirely of the word moon. Let's move on to the next. This is an animal. What animal is this? That is what? What animal is this particular picture showing? That is a snake. For a moment. Again, snake. Now, what's the first letter of the word? This one I highlighted and underlined. Letter S, right? And then followed by a bag and everything. is a snake. Okay. What's the sound of this one? That's the name. What's the name of the letter? Letter N. N. Okay. Let's move on to the next. Mm, this is from or by the spider. What is this? This is a Clifford. A Clifford. An eagle. Oh, wait. This is, let's go back to this one. Ah, yeah. Let's see. That's jelly beans. Igloo, right? For I. So you made up something, a shelter, but still in the cold. Let's protect those ones we needed. Who need it? Let's focus on this one. We're here, right? We stop at this part. What do you call is this particular thing? That is a web. Again, a web. So the first or the starting sound is letter W. Okay? Anyway, what you're gonna do here is that you try to, hurt, not hurt, but what you're going to do here is that you try to, as much as possible, tell me or recite in your own comfortable space there the sound of letter or of each letter. Okay? All right. This is web. How about the other letters? This is E, which sounds like E, and then this is B, which sounds like B. B. Let's move on to the next. This is especially on the rainy season. This is an umbrella. Okay? An umbrella. Now, what is this particular? We're going to focus on starting sound here. What is this? Umbrella. What is this one highlighted? That is literally a U or that's how it sounds like. Umbrella. Okay? All right. Let's move on to another one. This one is a, what is this picture showing? That is a box. Again, a box. That is a box. Okay? Now what is the starting sound of the word box? That one. This letter. What letter is this? This is letter B. Or how does letter B sound like? What is its corresponding sound? If the name of the letter is B, what is its corresponding sound? B, B, B. Okay? This is a box. How about the other letters? This one. This is letter O. Or it sounds like O. And the last one is X, right? Which sounds like X, X, a combination of K and S. X, X. Anyway, let's move on to this one. What is this picture showing? It's a treat. This is jelly beans. Okay? Jelly beans. So what is the starting sound of this word? We're focusing on the starting sound here, okay? This one. What is that? What do you think is that? This is okay. This is letter J, which sounds like J, J. Okay? This is jelly beans. Let's move on to the next. Or before that, let me ask you, what is this letter showing? It's E or E. Next, L or L. Y for Y. B for B. E for E. A for A. S for S. Hissing sound. Okay, this is jelly beans.
We focus on letter G, J, sorry, letter J. Okay? All right, let's go. Let's move on. This is what animal? This is an octopus. Again, an octopus is coming. Anyway, this is what animal is this? Octopus. So, for a moment. Okay, octopus. We're going to focus again still on the starting sound here. This one. Okay, this is the word is octopus. What happened? Okay, this is letter. Oh, we focus on that. This is a vowel, right? If you remember. Now, what is the sound of letter O? Again, what is the sound of letter O? Oh, right? That is the sound. Oh, how about the next letter here? That is letter C. Or it sounds like next. T. T. Sounds like t, t. Next. Okay. Let's move on to this one. Wait for a moment. This one. Next is still an O, which sounds like O. Key. The name of the letter is next. What is the name of the letter? That is letter P. It sounds like. And next, that is okay. U. What sound does you make? Or what sound do you make in this one? Q. Letter Q. Or next, letter T. Again, letter T or that one, right? So anyway, another one is O, which is O. P for P. U for A. S for S. Okay? How about one? This is the last one. This is this is a wolf. Again, this is a wolf. We focus on the starting sound here. W or W. W. Wolf. Okay? Again, that is wolf. Now let's try this one. The W or the letter W is, of course, its name. How it sounds like is that there should be one mouth, tongue low and back. Make sure your lips do not around, do not go around much smaller as much as possible. We try to retain this smile, okay? All right, thank you so much for that. Anyway, the word is wolf. Our focus is on W. Next is O, okay? That's O. And then the last one is that is that is a letter W. How does W sound? Woo, woo. How about the next letter? That is an O, or it sounds like O, O. And the next is letter L, which sounds like L, L. Okay? I think that's the um it's very much important that try to also lend your help because some people are very shy to ask for help. Okay? This is wolf. Again, wolf. Now, what letter does this word sound or starts off? Letter W. What is its pronunciation? Woo, wolf. Okay? Again, this is W, wolf. Now, let's try to recap everything, starting from the first one. For a moment, let me check or let me find it. Yeah, I think that's good. We are now on exercise two. Okay? Exercise two. So here, um, of course, that's we've already done a lot of words and its corresponding starting sound, if not starting, but in the middle or at the end, just like ox, which is an example of what letter? Letter X. Okay? All right. This is exercise two. We started with fish. Next is nest. Now, fish starts with what letter? F, which sounds like fish. Next, nest. Nest. What are the this is where the how do you call that? Different birds take a refuge or take a rest. Okay, this is their home, their turf. That is mafia. Okay, let's move on to this one. Balls, which starts like with B or B. Roses, which starts with R or R. Cat, which sounds like or which starts with letter C, that sounds like this one. Um, Zebra, which sounds like or which starts with what letter? Z. Z naman. Z. Sorry, that's Z. Okay? Z. Zebra. Okay, zebra. The sound of letter Z is Z. It's a buzzing sound. But then again, in a word, of course, it does not, those letters, the pronunciation of each letter is really not isolated. Okay? Now, again, this is zebra. Letter Z, zebra. Or Z. Next, helicopter. H is our letter, and it sounds like next. Apples. Our focus is on A, which sounds like apples, of course. Next, ox. Ox, which is an example of which is an a kind of an animal. That is ox. Next, that is a doll. So it starts with letter D. Dog. Okay? Or D. D. Next, okay, pizza. What is the first letter of pizza? P. P. Okay? Next, log. What is the first letter of this word? Letter L or L, L, lug. Okay, let's move on to the next. This is eggs, which is or which starts with what letter? E, and it is loosened up a little bit. Okay, eggs, E. Next, kangaroo. K is our letter here, the starting sound. Next, yo-yo. Starting sound is Y or Y. Next, the starting sound here, or the word here is queen. The starting sound is Q. A moment. That's one. Okay. Queen. Next, violin. Letter V. Next, girl. Next, taxis. Then, that is what? What letter? It starts with what letter? M. The whole or entire word is moon. It starts with M, which sounds like moon. Okay? Very good. Next, this is snake. Snake, which sounds or which starts with S or S. A continuing or continuous hissing sound. Okay? That is hissing sound. Okay? So this is the animal. It's a hissing animal. Okay? Let's move on to another one. Okay. This is again web. W is our first letter, which sounds like woo. Next, umbrella, same case. You and the umbrella, the guy. Next is jelly beans. Jelly beans. Next, it starts with your honor. Octopus is our example. Next is that they. Okay? All right. This is how he encouraged the audience here. Wolf is the name. Wolf is the name, and then it sounds like this for the W. Ye, ye. Okay. Anyway, that is pretty much everything. Okay. Letters. Next, for a moment. Where is it? Let me check. Okay. This one is box, which starts with what letter? Letter B or B. B. Box. Next, we have jelly beans. That's not triple L, that's only L, okay? Jelly beans, which starts with what letter? What is this letter? Letter J, which sounds like J. J. Okay, let's move on to the next. This is an animal, a sea creature, a sea animal. Let me check. Again, this is a sea creature or sea animal, octopus. Next, this is a wolf. And I think that's the last picture that we've got. Okay, let's try to pause for a moment and then try another. Let's try to refresh everything that we've discussed so far. Let's take a 2-minute break before we end our class. Okay, that's 2 minutes. I hope everything is, or everyone is refreshed, or their minds are at rest, because it feels overwhelming for today, right? There are too many things to do, or there are too to learn. But anyway, this is just a last exercise, okay? I'm gonna type a word and tell me what letter are these, what letters that make up to this word. Let's say this one. Let's have this one. This is letters. What is this letter? That is letter L, which sounds like L, L, followed by letter E, which sounds like E, followed by again with double. So this is double T, right? This letter is T, which sounds like T, T. And okay, we're already done. We're already done with that. That is letter E. This one, that is letter R, which sounds like R. And then this one, this is letter S, which sounds like S, S. Okay. Next, we have we have this one. Let me type in bond paper. Okay, bond paper. I'll start with this one. This is letter B, which sounds like B. This one is O, which sounds like O. N, N, D, D, P, P, A, A, P, P, E, E, and then R, R. Okay. Another we have, let me think of a word. This one, housing. This letter is letter H, which sounds like this is O, O, U, A, S, S, I, E, N, N, G, G, G. And that is housing. Okay? Again, this is housing. How about lost word? Let me think. Electric. This is letter E, E, L, L, still E, E, C, T, T, R, R, E, E. Okay, this is electric. And I guess that is all for this session, everyone. Congratulations, everyone, for really doing your best for this session. You all did a great job, not just only for this session, but also for the previous sessions that we did. We've covered topics or topic which focused on um the topic letters. This is this is just the beginning, everyone. So I hope you are all in all throughout our or your journey in learning English. Again, our topic is on letters. This is just the beginning. Thank you all for being here. We worked or you worked so hard for part one and as well as part two, which is, you know, a very good foundation already. Remember, the alphabet or the English alphabet is the map for English. And tonight you made sure you know every single road on that map. So this strong knowledge will make reading and speaking so much easier for you in the future. So you've earned this strong foundation already, which is good. Next time we will immediately jump into the words for another lesson or another topic. Let's see. for tomorrow right away. Thank you again for your incredible focus and dedication tonight, everyone. You were serious and, of course, excellent listeners. Have a very good evening, and of course, look forward to seeing you soon, which will be tomorrow. Thank you all, and good evening.